Dreaming of homemade pickles? Let's turn your garden, container pots, or even your community plot into a pickle factory machine. From planting to putting it in the jar. Plus, I'll share a little faith and motivation to keep you going, even when the weeds show up. Follow me. Welcome to Glow Cultivates Gardens, where we're turning gardening into a full self-care experience. From seed to harvest, we grow what we eat, make natural self-care products, and even craft home decor items, all from the same seed. And even if you only have a windowsill, a hydroponic unit, a balcony, a small garden, or a community garden plot, there's a place for you here. Gardening isn't just about space, it's about cultivating a thriving, abundant life. Let's grow together. Summer is finally here, and now I can be in my most favorite room in the house, outdoors. Welcome to Glow Cultivates Gardens, the podcast where we dig deep into the art, soul, and science of gardening. Galatians chapter 6 verse 9 says, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." Gardening is all about faith, patience, and a little sweat. Let's get growing because your best harvest is still ahead. Let's make sure that the cucumbers you select are pickling cucumbers. Two of my favorites is Boston and National Pickling Cucumber. Make sure when you plant your seeds, it is after all frost has passed for your zone. And you want to plant your seeds or tender seedlings or plants 12 inches apart. That will give it the airflow that's required and also allow the sunlight to reach. Make sure you plant your seeds or plant seedlings after all frost has passed. They should be planted 12 inches apart. Make sure it's in a sunny, well-drained soil location. If you're planting them in pots, you can do so, but also make sure that your potting soil is well-drained. You are going to have to trellis your vines as they grow. It will help with a good airflow circulation, and it's easier to harvest versus your vines just growing down on the ground. And a good harvest tip to remember when you're harvesting your pickling cucumbers is to harvest them when they're between 3 and 5 inches long. That will give you the best, crunchiest pickles you ever had. Anything larger than that, they become bitter. So remember the 3 to 5 inch rule when you are harvesting your cucumbers. And if you don't get the perfect cucumbers the first time at growing them, remember, every gardener has a compost pile of learning moments. You're sowing good seeds literally and spiritually. So don't give up. And again, these are your cucumbers. If they come out not fully straight, it's okay. You can slice them up and put them in a jar and no one will ever know. So don't give up, even if you don't grow the perfect cucumber. So we're going to harvest what I do have. Like I said, it's not many, but just for you guys. And never pull, twist, or prune off. You don't want to break. But this is like an ideal size for a cucumber, a pickle for sure. So again, make sure you twist or prune off. I'm going to take this little baby right here. I'm just going to, and be mindful when it comes to cucumbers, the more you harvest, the more it will produce. So make sure you do that. Let's see what else. I actually have 2 different types of cucumbers growing here. I have the pickles cucumbers, And then I also have just the standard cucumber. I'll just snip it. It's not ready, but just so you can see, this is the other cucumber. I'll use that in a salad. I just want to make sure I got all of my... Okay, here go one back here. So, I think they're all good sizes for pickles for sure. Let me make sure I have all of them. So, once they get the signal that I harvest, they would definitely continue to produce some more. Okay, that's it for now. And you definitely want to trellis up your pickles. Always trellis it. It'll actually help for air production. I'm just trimming back some leaves because of the airflow wasn't that great. So I'm just cleaning, housekeeping. You don't want to have diseased plants because of the lack of airflow. So I'm just in here cleaning. Housekeeping, that's important. You don't want to have disease fruit. You want to provide as much airflow, but you want to keep enough leaves to keep the fruiting cool as well. I do that with my grapes as well, because the actual grape itself doesn't get enough sunlight because of all the leaves. So, yeah, I'm just aerating a little. Think it looks way better. I have little cucumbers on here growing now. You see, I don't use any kind of pesticides, so these holes in the leaves is a clear indication of that I'm trying to keep everything as natural as possible. And here is the other pickle plant. And I'll come over here and clean a little. But that's it, people. That's all it requires, just a little upkeep. They were laying on the ground. At one point, I couldn't get to it soon enough to do the trellis, so that's why I have some yellow and holes, because it was too close to the ground where the bugs are. But this is my, I just used steel bars. I had rebar, and I just used that as a T-cross with the 3 poles, and that's what they on. But look at the harvest. So we'll go inside and prep these for pickles. Okay, so now that we got the harvesting out of the way, let's get to prepping our pickles. So you should use a mason jar. Let's get that straight. These jars I use for something else, so I'm not going to use them for my pickles. As you can see from this jar, me and pickles have a good tight relationship. So I look forward to the summertime so I can do my own pickles. So eventually I will be doing my pickles right back into this jar. But for today I will be using this jar. But you definitely should use a mason jar, because once you boil it in the water, you'll be able to, it locks seals, so no contamination. So I'll probably transfer these later on, but for right now in this video we're using it. Okay, so to make your homegrown pickles, you need for the recipe that I will have available on my site, I'll leave the link for the newsletter on making your own homemade pickles. It calls for at least 2 pounds of pickles, and from what you see I've harvested, this is not 2 pounds. So I'm just going to reduce the recipe just to accommodate the small amount. But again, you can go onto my website to get the link, and you'll be able to make it accordingly for the 2 pounds of pickles. So for today, in this video, we're doing less than that. Okay, so before we get to the stove part of boiling your mixture together, you have to either keep your pickles whole or cut them up in spears or dices or however you like to eat it. So all of these pickles have been washed already and dried, so they're ready to go into the jar. It's not a big jar, so more than likely I'm just going to slice them up so they all can fit in the jar. So I'm going to take care of that now, slicing. And I'm doing my own kind of slicing, nothing like you know, you get from the commercial jars. I just want to make sure all of the pickled cucumbers that I have can actually be used in this video. If not, I'll finish this another time. So you're going to put in all of your cucumbers, and important, you need to cut off at least 1/8 of where your vine, you separated it off the vine, and that will prevent it from getting like soft or mushy. So cut that off. All right, so it doesn't look like I'm gonna fit them all. I'm gonna try this last piece. All right, and then cut that off. Okay, and maybe on this one I can just do a slice the opposite way, just so they can all fit for now. All right, so I'll close that for now. Move this out the way. Okay, now if you are doing it with your garden herbs, dill, I have fresh dill here. So you would need dill. You also need whole black peppercorns, and that's optional if you want to put them in there. I like it for the kick. And your last ingredient is going to be garlic cloves. So I'm going to slice the garlic, throw those in. So I put the garlic in, and I'm going to put the dill in. You know, it's garden grown, how could you not? I love dill everything. I get dill sunflower seeds, dill chips, so trust me, I'm okay with that. Now, when let me get the peppercorns in there. I'll just put just a little, nothing crazy. Again, it's optional. You don't have to, but if you choose to, go for it. Why not? Okay, so we covered the peppercorns, the fresh dill, and as well as the garlic cloves. So the next thing that you would have to make a mix to bring together, and that's basically what your pickle juice broth is, brine that you would see green in the you know, your pickle jars. That's what we're going to make right now. So the recipe again is based on 2 pounds. I have less than that, so I'll be reducing everything just for accommodating what I do have. So I'm going to do 2 cups of water. So we have 2 cups of water, and it also asks for, you know, I'm going to reduce it, so I'm doing 2 cups of vinegar. 2 cups of vinegar. Now the last thing you would add would be your pickling salt. I unfortunately ran out, but what I do have as a backup that I will be using, and this is a cheat sheet. If you don't want to make and gather ingredients from scratch, or if you're not growing it, you can always find you a pickling already made up packet of seasoning. So everything that I'm giving you for the recipe, if you want to do it from scratch, you can do it from scratch. But if you just want to get straight to it, you can get you this is a kosher dill pickles packet, seasoning packet. So everything I'm telling you to get individually, it's already in this packet. So being that I don't have any kosher salt, I'm just going to use 1 tablespoon of this seasoning mix, and that will substitute for me not having the actual kosher salt. So I'm putting 1 tablespoon of that, and this is on, so it's going to come to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, you literally just pour it in this jar, and then you have to, again, when you use your mason jars, you have to do a bath, the hot water bath. You're going to run them for 10 minutes in it, and that will seal your caps on your mason jars. Once it cools down, put it in the fridge for 2 weeks, and I'm telling you, you'll have the best pickles you've ever had. Promise you. Okay, so the brine has boiled for over 10 minutes. So it's ready to pour into your cucumbers. So I'm just going to ladle out as much as I can first. Due to it being hot. Okay, and let's see. Just enough. Okay, I'm just going to push down. And voila, voila. Easy, 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 easy. Now you have a jar of homemade that will be crunchy dill pickles. If you like dill, if you like hot, put cayenne pepper in it, something hot. Or if you just want it peppery, add more peppercorns. I hope this video, this recipe, this demonstration inspire you to grow you some cucumber pickling pickles. So, until next time, thank you. And lastly, nothing tastes more like summer than homemade pickles. You grew these from seed to table. Celebrate this because it is progress either way. And remember, your gardening experience is one way God shows us how patience brings rewards. So celebrate all the effort, all of the faith, elbow grease, and sweat equity you put into your garden, because it brought on a harvest. Be it big or small, it still produced a harvest. So celebrate it. If you love today's video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. And please share your pickle stories in the comments. I would love to hear them. And if you have your own special recipes, please share them so this community can give them a try.